One. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of a video blog here on WKTV.com. We're going to get you updated on the tropics again and talk to you about how the tropics may eventually impact us here in central New York. Let's take a look at satellite here across, first off, the midsection of the country. You can see what's left of Gustav starting to lose its characteristics just a bit. Still plenty of moisture with it. We'll fly out here. There's Hannah. There's Ike. There's Josephine out in the tropics. They're all lined up kind of in a row here across the region. Let's start with Josephine and work our way back east. Here's our official National Hurricane Center track. Josephine, a very weak storm. Doesn't have much to it, very poorly organized, and you can tell by the track that, well, it's going to diminish into a tropical depression over the next couple of days. So by about day 4 or day 5 from now, we do expect Josephine to weaken, I think, partially. The water's cool. This is taking a little bit more of a northerly track, and also the influence of Ike and Hannah just to its west, and also some upper level conditions really not going to be conducive to this really getting going and developing into a monster. However, what is a monster is Ike. This one is really cranking up and has really turned itself to become very impressive in the last 24 hours. And as such, it's now a Category 3 hurricane, a major hurricane. Another one here sitting and spinning. You can see the eye right there. It looks very, very nice, very tight eye. So this is a very potent storm. And this one's only going to strengthen further as we go on in time. Take a look at the official National Hurricane Center forecast track of Ike. Takes it off to the west-northwest here over the next couple of days or so, strengthens it into a Category 4 storm. There is still the chance that it could even strengthen into a Cat 5, but that remains to be seen. It dips it back to the south here around the 3rd and 4th day, and then as we go toward the 5th day, back to the north and west, responding to some winds in the upper atmosphere, still with 135-mile-an-hour winds in the Bahamas. That's going to be a big-time storm for somebody, and obviously there is some room for error. The Florida coast, incidentally, is right here, so we're not very far away from this perhaps impacting Florida. It should take a right turn or continue west into the Gulf. That remains to be seen. Let's take a look for a little more insight now at the actual computer model tracks. Again, each one of these lines indicates a computer model forecast for Ike's path here. And you can see pretty much has that northwesterly, then southwesterly movement. But then notice a lot of these start to recurve it here as we go later in time. Some start to recurve it a little bit later, and then there's even one that takes it way south here. We'll see. The general trend, I think, would be in this direction. Then the question is, does it keep going in that direction, or does it turn and head north and then eventually perhaps out to sea, which would be incredible if we can get it to do that and miss everybody. That would be great news for sure. A big storm, though. This one's going to take the attention once we get rid of Hannah. Speaking of, let's take a look at Hannah. It's gotten itself better organized in the last 24 hours. Remember, yesterday, you couldn't even pick out the center. Well, you can kind of see it here swirling around. The thunderstorm, the convection around the center of the storm is getting a little bit better organized. You see the brighter colors, which indicate colder cloud tops aloft, which means the storm is better organized here. So this one's starting to crank up just a bit. Let's take a look at the official track of Hannah here. Winds between about 50 and 60 miles an hour. Is still forecasted to strengthen into a Category 1. Moves along the southeast coast, very close to making landfall somewhere between North Carolina and perhaps northern Georgia, and then continues off to the north and east, well off to our south and west, or south and east rather, us right here. We're still on the cone of error of the track eventually, but it does look more and more likely like this is going to miss us to the south and east, at least the storm track. Let's take a look at our microcast model. Microcast has had a good history in predicting tropical systems here, and we have one set up here for the southeast. You can see the center of the storm right here, moving along, the showers and thunderstorms associated with it. Then as we take you into Friday night, here you go, right around 10, 11 o'clock, it makes landfall right at Charleston, South Carolina as a Category 1. Obviously, this is not like Hugo, which was much stronger. This one continues to progress up to the north. And then as we get toward the end of this on Saturday, it does start to arc north and east so that the core of the precipitation does miss us. Let's take a look at the computer models. Remember, last night we showed you this map, and it was kind of split around New York State. Well, check this out now. All of them are off to our east, and you can see we're pretty much in the clear. So the center of the storm is pretty well forecasted. Good agreement that it's going to pass to our east and into New England. Interestingly enough, and our own Jill Rill really pointed this out earlier tonight, there's a really big disagreement into where it's going to make landfall. It looks like there is some type of agreement that it could start to impact maybe the North Carolina, South Carolina border region, somewhere in there. But we'll see. We have microcasts saying Charleston, this going to the north. we'll see what it means. Let's talk about what it means for us a little bit more directly. Let's take a look at our skycast, taking you through the night tonight and into tomorrow morning. We've got clear skies out there. We don't have much to worry about. Maybe a shower or thunderstorm tomorrow. That would be about it throughout the day. Thursday, this is. As we go into Thursday night, though, notice that system starts to depart. We start to see a change in wind direction right into the south. Here's the remnants of Gustav. Remember, flow around these systems is in this direction, counterclockwise. So if you kind of broaden this out just a bit here, you'll be able to see that we're talking about southwesterly flow and pretty broad southwesterly flow right into New York State. That's going to pump in the heat here Thursday night and into Friday, so that by the time we get to Friday morning, we start to really crank up the humidity and the heat. And additionally, we are talking about somewhat of a southeasterly component to the wind down off the coast here that could bring in some of that additional humidity on the north side of Hannah. So as we go through the day on Friday, we start to roast here with temperatures perhaps near 90, lots of sunshine. Hannah's making landfall. Then all this will work its way up the coast. The core of what's Hannah is going to miss us, but then you might see a little bit of a tweak in the isobars here. The isobars are the lines of equal pressure, these little white things that are drawn in here, these lines. There's going to be a disturbance sitting over us, at least a boundary of some sort here as we go into Friday night and into Saturday. And as the moisture from Hannah starts to go north, although most of it will go into New England and away from us, that's going to be enough of a little bit of convergence in the winds meeting together that's going to allow for rain to develop here on Friday night and into Saturday across the region. And that'll continue into Saturday as we kind of increase that tropical moisture significantly throughout the day. So that's why I do still think, even though we're going to be missed for the most part by Hannah, it's still going to indirectly bring us, I think, a decent amount of rain. Nothing flooding or anything like that. We're not too concerned at this point for that. But it is something worth watching, something we're going to be keeping our eyes on, and something, of course, we'll keep you posted in right here in the blog. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments section. We'll keep you posted on this throughout the week. Have a good night and a great day.